The untold mistakes that led to the Titanic's tragic demise. The launch of the RMS Titanic on April 10, 1962, was an event of global significance. Marketed as unsinkable, this massive and opulent vessel was the epitome of early 20th century technological marvel. The anticipation among its 1,500 passengers and the crowd gathered to witness its maiden voyage was palpable. Yet, unbeknownst to them, 6 critical mistakes lay hidden, lurking to turn this majestic journey into an infamous tragedy. Mistake 1. Excessive speed for the maiden voyage. On the fateful day of the Titanic's first voyage, Captain Edward Smith, an experienced mariner with 40 years in the field, was under immense pressure to reach New York by April 17. The owners of the White Star Line had set this deadline to ensure the Titanic's timely arrival and to maintain its burgeoning reputation. Consequently, the ship commenced its journey at a high speed, a grave error for an untested vessel. Operational procedures, including speed limits, are fundamental to the safe navigation of any vehicle, let alone a ship as colossal as the Titanic. From the outset, these speed regulations were disregarded, plunging the Titanic into peril far sooner than anyone on board could have anticipated. Mistake 2. Ignored iceberg warnings. The Titanic navigated the Atlantic smoothly for 3 days, making brief stops in France and Ireland before continuing its relentless push towards New York. However, on the evening of April 14, 1962, Captain Smith received multiple iceberg warnings from a ship located just hours ahead. Despite receiving these warnings 6 times, they were neglected. This oversight was largely due to the wireless operators prioritizing the needs of the first-class passengers over critical navigational warnings. If the warnings had been taken seriously, the Titanic's course, and perhaps its fate, could have been altered dramatically. Mistake 3. Lack of essential navigational equipment. By the time the Titanic was within the vicinity of the warned icebergs, it was running at full speed with limited visibility due to fog. The ship had vigilant lookouts, but they lacked an essential piece of equipment: binoculars. These high-powered binoculars could have allowed the crew to spot icebergs from a greater distance, providing crucial time to maneuver. Without binoculars, the crew saw the massive iceberg too late, when it was directly in front of the ship. Though the lookouts did their best to alert Captain Smith, their inability to see afar was the third critical mistake. Mistake 4. Inadequate response to the iceberg. Upon sighting the iceberg, Captain Smith's immediate response was to halt the engines and attempt a sharp turn. While this decision showcased his experienced instinct, the iceberg was already too close for effective evasion. Ships often encounter small icebergs, but this scenario was dire due to the rapid approach. The Titanic scraped along the side of the iceberg, a collision that inflicted severe damage on its hull. Here, too, design flaws came into play. The rivets used in constructing the Titanic's hull were made from cast iron instead of steel, making them susceptible to breaking under high pressure. Thus, the collision caused the rivets to pop, opening the ship to the torrent of icy water. Mistake 5. Insufficient lifeboats. Post-collision, water began flooding the lower compartments. The Titanic was engineered to stay afloat even if 3 compartments were filled, yet the damage extended to a 4th compartment. Despite the crew's efforts, it became evident that the ship was doomed. Captain Smith issued distress signals and began preparing for evacuation. However, only 20 lifeboats were available for the 1,500 passengers, a severe underestimation due to the vanity of the designers who believed many lifeboats would mar the ship's aesthetic appeal. The regulatory minimum was abandoned for visual grandeur, costing many lives. Mistake 6. Inefficient use of lifeboats. Amid the ensuing chaos, the lifeboats were launched without being fully occupied, giving priority to first-class passengers. The rescue attempts thus became a scramble for survival, with many second and third-class passengers left stranded. At 2:18 a.m., a short circuit extinguished the ship's lights, plunging it into darkness. Moments later, the Titanic split in two, sinking into the frigid Atlantic waters. The temperature was a life-threatening -2 degrees Celsius, and those who survived the initial sinking had little chance in the freezing ocean. The sinking of the Titanic took over 2 hours and 40 minutes, with around 1,500 passengers perishing. Surviving passengers were primarily women and children, saved by the few lifeboats that were efficiently launched. Unfortunately, many unofficial passengers who boarded without tickets were not accounted for in the death toll. Captain Smith stayed till the very end, ensuring as many lives were saved as possible before taking the final plunge into the Atlantic. His dedication was both heroic and tragic, marking the end of an era of unchecked arrogance in ship design and operation. The loss of the Titanic was a culmination of human errors and overconfidence, technological inadequacies, and managerial oversights. The 6 critical mistakes: high speed, ignored warnings, lack of binoculars, inadequate response, insufficient lifeboats, and inefficient rescue measures, are stark reminders of the costs of human error. Today, the Titanic serves as both a memorial to the lives lost and a powerful lesson in the importance of stringent adherence to safety protocols within every facet of maritime travel. In remembering the Titanic, let us strive for meticulous precision in our technological pursuits, ever vigilant to the lessons history affords us.